God is here.
Jonathan, having had a quick look around it, I don't see much that talks about the great history of ancient Israel. Where's that gone?
Well, it hasn't really gone anywhere, John. They're stories. And they're great stories. They're a part of the literary heritage of early Israel, but they're not stories which we can document archaeologically.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. Give yourself a hand. There you go, give yourself a hand. Hear me? If you're new here and you've never been here, listen, I need you to like, to share, and to subscribe. Hit that notification bell, stay in contact with us. Listen, maybe you're feeling generous today. If you're feeling generous, listen, put the cash out right there. All you gotta do is scan the QR code, man. Give whatever you feel necessary to give. Whatever you give from your heart. And with that being said, hey man, this is what I always say. I give my listeners and my audience this message right here in case I don't say the right thing. And this message means to never give up. No matter what you're going through, no matter how rough life may be, never give up. Because if you stay focused and you keep going, the creator of the universe will meet you right where you at, help you make some sense out of the situation. Not only that, here's another message just for you. It says, manifest the life that you want. Manifestation is a real thing. You're looking at a real person who actually did it. Everything that you're looking at in my background, everything about me that's going on in my life right now, it was in my heart, then it got into my mind, which we call our pineal gland, your third eye, right? That's right. And the creator of the universe brought it into fruition. So, manifest the life that you want. And with that being said, hey man, just want to drop something on you real quick. I got one response. I'm surprised. I did a teaching, man, and out of that teaching, seemed like people. We did a teaching about the name of Joshua, and for some reason, people stopped messaging us after that teaching. But we got one person, and this is a lady, and she wants to know about that one message. So listen, I'll say this, and we'll get right to it. Everything I do, man, I do it to put out the truth. That's it. Not to hurt anybody's feelings, not to make anybody feel any kind of certain way. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what the Creator put me here for. Creator put me here to speak truth. Now, you can judge me by certain things that I say or whatever. I'm speaking to a bigger demographic of people. I ain't just talking to Christians. I'm talking to everybody, no matter what kind of religion they are in. It doesn't matter. But He put me here to speak truth. And you can judge me and put me against whoever on the internet. They're not saying what I'm saying. If they speak ancient Kemetic spirituality, they ain't talking about this. They're not connecting the dots the way I connected it and told you about the hieroglyphics being the original sacred writings of God. They're not saying that. They have not said that. Matter of fact, they speak against that. They're not telling you that Akhenaten is the real King David from the Bible. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you Tutankhamun, who is Akhenaten's real son, where they found all the riches is, that's the real Solomon in the Bible. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you that when they talk about Moses in the Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, and what they call the Torah, they're not telling you that that's Moses one, the Pharaoh. Now let's make it make sense before I answer her question, because she is not understanding the meaning of the word Joshua. So I'm gonna just break that down, and then I'm gonna show you something. It's a surprise. I'm gonna show it to y'all, because for some reason when black people say it, and we try to speak to our own black people, they won't hear us. They'll listen when white people talk. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. But here we go. The story makes complete sense, like I said. The original writings, and that's why they're still studying it in Egypt, these so-called archaeologists, you're going to find out about that. The original writings came off of those pyramids, off of those tombs, off of those sarcophagus in ancient Egypt. That's why they make a big mystery about what color people these people was. All the people was black over there in that whole area, not just Egypt and the Sudan, right there in that whole area, what they call the Levant. No people was black, period. Cousins, whatever you want to call them, Ethiopians, Sudan. Listen, man, Canaanites, listen. Egyptians, black people. Some was darker, some was lighter. Listen, that's the whole argument right there. Okay? So, like I said, you can put me against anybody, what they're saying. And if they're coming from Christianity, they're going to be speaking Jesus. And I done explained it to you. I got a teaching on my page called the Egyptian warrior prophet. We explain that story of who they want the Messiah, who the Messiah really was, and how he came. All right? Now, with that being said, let's get right to it. In the book of Deuteronomy, and this is to the Miss Lady, I'm explaining to her the real meaning of the word Joshua. She's mixed. Apparently, I think she was a little confused with what I said in the teaching. And I thank you, Miss, for even sending us this, because I've been grinding. I've been doing a lot of work. But I'm glad that I got a message from you, because I expected to have more messages in there than that. And, it's all good. Listen, in Deuteronomy 18, verses 18 through 23, it says that the creator of the universe would raise up a prophet like unto his brethren. In that book, remember, we ain't talking about King James, we're talking about hieroglyphics. That's why it deals with an Egyptian. Because the hieroglyphics was the sacred writings that they took these stories and came up with an amalgamation, and they made your King James Bible, okay? We don't care if King James was a homosexual. They got nothing to do with what they stole and put together as amalgamation, a mixture. White people been doing it forever. See? Now, Deuteronomy 18th chapter, verses 18 through 22 says the creator of the universe would raise up a prophet like unto his brethren. He's speaking to a man named Moses I. Moses I was a real pharaoh. You can Google and find that out. That's real history. That's real facts. Okay. Moses was an Egyptian, not a Hebrew. See? That's something they came up with. And we continue on. I said if you read it in the understanding of how they wrote it for Christianity, you would think that the prophet he's going to raise up is Joshua. Okay? Because that's the way they wrote it for you biblically, to think that God is talking to Moses and his successor is coming as Joshua. But that is not what it is. So, what did I do? I took you to the Strong's Concordance, and we looked up the word Joshua, okay? The word Joshua is 3091. 3091 means salvation. See, Joshua doesn't mean he's a real person here. It just means salvation. Joshua means salvation, meaning that the Most High will come and save his people. Listen, so 3091 takes you to 3467. This is all in your Strong's Concordance. 3467 is a word called Yasha. Y-A-S-H. Y-A-S-H-A. And that means to be open, wide, or free. Why would you be free? Because the story, the way they break it down, he was bound. Why was they bound? It was bound by these new people that came in called the Hyksos. Moses ran them out of there. Listen. So 3467 Yasha means to be open, wide, or free. In other words, to be safe from these invaders, these foreigners, to be free or to secure. Listen, avenging. This is what 3467 Yasha means. It means avenging, defend, deliver or deliverer, help, preserve, rescue, be safe, to bring or having salvation. To bring salvation or having salvation. To save, a savior, to get victory. It means to win. That's what the word 3467, which is Yasha, which is the word savior or salvation, that came from the word Joshua. Okay? So, that's the way they wrote it. That's the Hebrew meaning of the word. It's not a real person. And how do we know that? Because of who Joshua's father is. Now, if you turn to that same Strong's Concordance, Joshua's father's name is Nun. Joshua is the son of Nun. Pronounced Nun, just like 12 o'clock noon. High noon, N-O-O-N. Look it up. That's 5125, Nun. That's Joshua's dad. Or Joshua is the father or the son of Nun. Okay? And it figuratively means, this is the part of things you got a problem with, it figuratively means to be perpetual. Perpetual means perpetuity or forever, eternal. Now, here's a simple question, Miss Lady, and to anybody listening. Can a person live forever? Can a person live for perpetuity? No, they can't, because it's appointed to every man once to die, and then what? The judgment. Everybody comes here, everybody is born, and then they die. That's everybody. So nobody is forever. Nobody is perpetual. This is how we know Joshua is a metaphor. This is how we know his father. When it says his father, it's talking about the son. Right. And that story, the sun stayed up all day. That can only happen when the sun is up at high noon. And that's why Joshua is the son of noon, which is a metaphor. So let me explain it to you in esoteric meaning, because this is what they did not give you when they made up their amalgamation and they took the story. They got you looking for a real man. The man they got you looking for, listen, keep in mind, Deuteronomy 18:22 says a prophet like unto his brother. His brother was Amos. Amos is one who was an Egyptian. So the Egyptian who comes, you can find that out in the teaching that I have called the Egyptian warrior prophet and the teachings of Josephus. But right here, Joshua means salvation, which is a metaphor, which is the sun of noon that lasts forever. The sun, nobody can destroy the sun that's in the sky. So esoterically speaking, the sun can never be destroyed. It's forever. It's called, listen, for y'all that's still looking for two witnesses in the book of Revelation, the two witnesses that's going to appear, that's here and has always been here, is the sun in the sky and the moon. Nobody can destroy the sun or the moon. The sun is perpetual, perpetuity, or forever, eternal. Salvation is coming to our people, and when it comes this time, it will be forever. We won't be under anybody's feet no more. That's the story they don't want you to know. So esoterically speaking, the man, instead of them giving you the truth about the S-U-N, they gave you the S-O-N. And to show you that the story go together perfectly, listen to the verse that's on the screen right now about the sun and about the moon being a faithful witness. When you keep reading, that verse goes into talking about David. That's why it's important for you to know that Akhenaten, right, is the original David from the Bible, and Tutankhamun is his real son, who is supposed to be David's son in the Bible. What? It goes right back to Deuteronomy 8, the 18th chapter, verses 18 through 22, where he said, I will raise up a prophet like unto your brethren. Moses was an Egyptian, and you get to the verses about Josephus wrote about this Egyptian, this rebel who was a false prophet. He the one that came. Okay. Yes. Boom. Then you reading right here. I'm explaining about the sun lasting forever and the moon being a faithful witness, right? It's talking about David's throne. It's talking about an Egyptian's throne, who is Akhenaten. And if his son get out of line, which was Tutankhamun, that's written in your scripture. That's called unlocking and opening the seals right before your eyes. And his name is Jesus, a.k.a. Yahshua, which is the word Joshua, right? Which is the son of noon. So the son of the creator, who can make noon? Who can make the sun? Who can make these things? Only the creator. See? Very simple. Now, with that being said, oh man, 12 minutes. I ain't drinking no coffee today. Got me some ice water. It's storming out, and we here. Now, all you gotta do is go back and watch that video. Like I said, we put that video out, man, and people stopped responding. So I'm thankful to the lady that sent this here. But like I said, people won't listen to black people when we say it, so they'll listen to when white people say it. Watch this.
What does that mean? That the Old Testament is simply fiction? What about the Exodus from Egypt and invasion of Canaan?
We have no archaeological evidence for the invasion of Canaan.
The Israelites attacked Jericho and the walls miraculously collapsed.
Jericho was not defended by city walls at that time.
Let me bring that back one more time. Listen to this.
What about the Exodus from Egypt and invasion of Canaan?
We have no archaeological evidence for the invasion of Canaan.
The Israelites attacked Jericho and the walls miraculously collapsed.
Jericho was not defended by city walls at that time.
They slaughtered the inhabitants, then went on to do the same at other cities.
Many of the cities mentioned were not even occupied at the time.
And they took over the land of Canaan.
The Israelites were, in my opinion, they were Canaanites.
See, you don't take my word for it. Listen to these people. They saying this. They know this.
According to the book of Joshua, the miracles had only just begun. They went to Jericho. In the 1930s, John Garstang dug a hole in the mound which had once been ancient Jericho, and he declared that at the time of Joshua, Jericho was a walled city. He had found the walls, and he had found that suddenly, cataclysmically, the walls had collapsed. The Bible story was true. Bill Deaver is one of the many archaeologists now rewriting this history.
Jericho nowadays is regarded as one of the great scandals of biblical archaeology, where we really went wrong. We're looking here at the city wall of the late 3rd millennium BC, which was destroyed about 2300. This is the wall that John Garstang, working for the British in the 20s and 30s, identified as Joshua's wall, and he thought that the destruction was the destruction described in the book of Joshua, so he was obviously influenced by the biblical story.
As were lots of other people. Jericho became virtually a site of pilgrimage, the place where you could see the truth of a miracle. But then came a new excavation.
This is a deep trench on the west side of the mound that Dame Kathleen Kenyon cut in the 50s. What Kenyon did was to show that the wall was in fact built and destroyed 1,000 years before Joshua's time.
According to Kenyon, Jericho was undefended and abandoned by the time of Joshua. Garstang had misstated his wall by 1,000 years. Rather a big mistake. So what was it that made Garstang think that this was the wall that Joshua destroyed?
Well, he may have been influenced already by the biblical story. He may have been influenced by his backers. They were evangelical, conservative Christian businessmen, and they probably had a certain result they desired.
You see, in the 30s, most archaeologists working here in Israel were not archaeologists at all, not professionalists. They were mostly clerics or theologians who came here, and the main aim was to look for the Israelite conquest, and they were looking everything through the biblical prism. Was the proof of the connection between modern Israel and ancient Israel. With the Prime Minister Ben-Gurion, he had meetings at his home with all these former generals and now archaeologists that, and the books that they were interested were the books of Joshua.
The Israelites never were in Egypt. They never came from abroad. This whole chain of event is broken, is not a historical one. It's a later legend, reconstruction of an ancient history by sometimes during the 7th century, which never happened. The Israelites never were in Egypt. They never came from abroad. This whole chain of event is broken, is not a historical one. It's a later legend, reconstruction of an ancient history by sometimes during the 7th century, which never happened.
Our people the only one that don't know it. Hey, man, and with that being said, I hope I said something to spark a flame in your brain to make you want to pick up these books and learn all that you can learn. Hey, man, until next time, I will catch you.